Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm an adventurer, filmmaker and photographer, currently on a month-long road trip in California. I'm talking to you now from Yosemite National Park. I started off the trip on the 1st of July, landing in San Francisco, staying in Pacifica, and then drove down to Monterey, Santa Barbara, spent a week in Los Angeles doing a house sit there, and then moved down to Huntington Beach, San Diego, across to Phoenix, then up to Las Vegas, up to Mammoth, and now currently in Yosemite National Park, and it is just spectacular. My plan today is to walk from Glacier Point, which is just behind me, along to the Yosemite Valley, and I'm going to be pitching my Bivy camp there tonight and spending a night under the stars in the park, and then have a little walk along, hopefully at sunset, onto Half Dome. I picked up a pass this morning from the Wilderness Office, from the park rangers, where you can apply for a pass each morning to be able to stay in the park at night time. You have to pay for a permit and have it validated by the official rangers, and fortunately I was able to get one. It is very busy, all the campsites are packed out, but yeah, I've got my camping gear so on my map, so I'll be able to find a spot that I have permission to use, which is great. And then I can actually stay up here for a number of nights. I believe it's up to 2 weeks, I think. I'll have to triple check that. But if you come down, you have to then reapply for a new permit. So you can be up and spend certainly a few nights exploring before you come back down into the valley, and then get a new pass validated if you want to continue to do some more wild camping and exploring. There is quite a lot of poop on the trails, which I can only believe belongs to the bears. And there are quite a lot of bears in the area. I have a bear can with me which has got all my food, toothpaste, suntan lotion, bug spray, anything with a scent to it is kept in a can in the back of my bag, which I'll hide away from where I camp tonight. And I'm given a card as well to report any incidents that may encounter with a bear. So anything untoward is to be reported to the park rangers and the National Park Service, so they can keep an eye on all bear activity. There's quite a lot of mess on the trails, which can only make me think there are a lot of bears around, so I will be keeping my eyes peeled and maybe sleeping with one eye open tonight. My ultimate goal on this hike is to get up on top of Half Dome, which is just here behind me. The height of Half Dome is 8,836 feet, which is 2,693 meters. I'm just on my way down now towards Nevada Fall, and that's at an elevation of 5,907 feet or 1,801 meters. So the distance between the two is quite substantial. From the falls, which are just below me, I've got about another 100 meters or so to get to the camp where I'm staying tonight. So it's about 5:45. I think getting on top of Half Dome this evening, even though it's going to be a beautiful night, might be a little bit ambitious. So if I set up in the Bivy and just have a comfy night, then I could set off early in the morning and head up there, possibly come back down to the camp and stay another night, do a little bit of exploring roundabout, or come back on the trail that I've just been hiking along for the most part, which is the Panorama Trail. It's not hard to understand why it's called Panorama. And then head back up towards Glacier Point where I parked the car. The scale of this place is epic, and I think doing too much in one go might be biting off a little bit more than I can chew. So I'll just go with the flow, and I've got options, which is great. It's currently 7:15 p.m. and I've just arrived in Little Yosemite Valley where I will be camping this evening. It's taken me 5.5 hours to walk 10 kilometers to get to this point, so hopefully I'll have a good night's sleep and then make the ascent up to the top of Half Dome tomorrow morning. It's just coming up to 7:30 a.m. here in Little Yosemite. 17 hours and 40 minutes since I set off. I'm about to grab some breakfast, pack up the bag, and then head up to Half Dome. This next bit should be about 3.5 miles from here to the top, but I think it's all up the whole way. It's just coming up to 10 a.m. and I'm about 20 kilometers into the hike since the starting point at Glacier Point, and now I've made it to the bottom of Half Dome. See a few people perhaps just up on the ladder there climbing up. That is the next portion, and I can just imagine that the views at the top are going to be absolutely spectacular. Made it up to the top of Half Dome, and it was a bit tricky coming up on the ascent using the cables, and my hands are absolutely shredded. I don't know if my camera can pick up on that, but I've got some pretty bad blisters on both hands. So anybody coming and doing Half Dome, bring some gloves with you. When I get to the top, everybody tells me there's a little bit of a box at the bottom with some gloves in there, which I missed. But yeah, it's just wow. If you have never been to Yosemite and you've seen it on documentaries, on TV, pictures, Instagram, you have to come. If the only place you've seen it is through a screen, you really have to be here. It is such a magical and special place, and the scale of this environment is just huge. Like, it feels like you're in a painting, it really does. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time up here checking out some of the views and the vistas from different points, and then head back down, stock up on water, and get back to camp, and then make a decision on what I do for the rest of the day from there. Made the ascent down from Half Dome and Sub Dome to Little Yosemite Valley, back to the campsite, and then headed straight into the river and took a really nice dip, which felt very well earned after the hike this morning, and spent about an hour in the water. It's pretty cold, but it was extremely refreshing and just chilled out. And then as I was letting my stuff dry off on some of the logs, then people started to gather. A lot of the people I met on the ascent and descent started to meet up on the beach, and just been spending the afternoon chatting with people, really, which has been really nice and pleasant. And it's already getting towards sunset, so the day's gone by pretty fast, and just nice to take a little bit of extra time rather than try and rush to get back to the car, to get down to the campsite in the valley, and just enjoy this wonderful, beautiful, magical landscape. So I'll head back to the camp and start to set up for this evening. And I heard rumours from my neighbours that there was a rattlesnake, so hopefully there won't be one in my bivy bag and we won't have any encounters of that nature tonight. But otherwise, yeah, just a chilled night, and whenever I wake up in the morning, then I'll set off and start to make my way back towards Glacier Point. It's now Thursday the 27th of July, and now I'm on the way back to Glacier Point with a couple of new friends, Sean and Brittany from Florida, who we met up at the top of Half Dome yesterday. The guys are just down here at the moment, just behind me, using the water filters at Nevada Falls just to make sure that they've got plenty of supplies on the way up. I'm going to drop them back at their car, and then we're going to head down into the valley and pitch up at the base camp there tonight. So yeah, here we go, crack on, final stretch, back up to the car after a couple of yeah, really nice nights under the stars here in Yosemite National Park. Up on the final ascent to Glacier Point to head back to the car, and had a little bit of a slower going day. Set off at 6:30 this morning. It's coming up to about midday now. It's getting kind of hot. Walking with Brittany and Sean, who've been out in the mountains for a day extra than me, so they are definitely feeling a little bit more weary than I am at the moment. So just taking it kind of easy, and then I'll give the guys a lift back down into the valley. And yeah, it's kind of amazing. Just think that just up here, at that point there, that's where we were yesterday, climbing up the ladder. To look at it in this kind of horseshoe and think of where we've come and what we've done, it's yeah, pretty epic. So yeah, one more final push, and looking forward to a nice glass of cold lemonade at the top.
You can see the diving board from here.
You're standing right over there.
Right
That's wild.
So that little nub poking out to the left of the
with
dome.
nothing under it.
I didn't look
But
down.
2,000 feet down.
Oh,
That's where we've got our selfies.
scary.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't look down when I was up there. But good thing I didn't, because I would have freaked out.
That's the iconic diving board.
I can't believe we were up there yesterday, and now we're over here looking at it from the distance. We've covered a lot of ground.
I think I'm pleased that I didn't know that was a diving board from when I was walking to it.
Yeah, no,
and when I was
if
standing
I
up.
had known that that was the diving board, I don't know if I would have walked out on that.
That's why I shimmied out like, oh.
Yeah, no, I just put 2 and 2 together, and that makes sense.
Yeah, so just poking out here is the diving board. There's a little nub on the top of the half dome. I'll pull my finger away, you might be able to see. Yeah. Wow.
From here, it's like, we did that.
I know.
We all did that.
Look at us.
And we're here to tell about it.
And we're almost out.
We're
It's
almost.
ice cream sandwiches.
Ice cream sandwiches, sodas. Oh,
Oh man, that's amazing.
I'm so proud of you. They go this way.
I'm like telling him to get a picture.
It's just gone 7 AM on Friday the 28th of July, and I'm currently standing here in the valley of Yosemite and just heading back to my car to head up now to Tahoe area. Quite unbelievable experience, the whole thing. Met some fantastic people along the way, and just to cap it all off, we had a little bear encounter last night. So just after setting up camp and then taking a quick dip in the river, there was some noise and some clattering, and we went to just see. Obviously we thought it might be a bear, and we saw 2 walking along, one just right on the opposite side of the beach where I'd just been swimming. So I was quite lucky I got out when I did, but without any hesitation at all. 3 park rangers came along, just managed the situation. Everybody was behaving appropriately and, you know, making noise to scare off the bears in the way that you should. And then then they just moseyed on like along their way, and it was really cool to see. And certainly I think that was just the final feather in the cap for the Yosemite National Park experience, seeing the bears from a safe distance. It's been quite magical, the whole thing. I say the people have been amazing that I met along the way. Everybody's coming with such a positive spirit and energy. And yeah, it's going to be quite sad to leave this place. Feel a little bit emotional walking out now. If you haven't been here already, you should definitely make a trip. It's a sight to be seen with your own eyes. And if you have been here already, I can completely understand why you keep coming back. This place is very magical and very special.